Everyone loves Bandit and Chilli. The internet has decided they are the greatest parents in the history of television. People make TikToks about them. Parents cry watching them. Grown adults without children have watched this show specifically because Bandit and Chilli make them feel something. And to those people I say, with great respect, you have not been paying attention. Because hiding underneath all those heartwarming moments and wholesome lessons and beautifully animated hugs is a pattern. A very specific, very consistent pattern of two parents who cheat at games, parent their children while actively hungover, use their kids as free labor, ignore everything their children say. Bandit and Chilli Healer are not the greatest parents on television. They are chaotic, exhausted, occasionally self-absorbed adults doing their absolute best in a household that is genuinely out of control. And the show proves it constantly. And that is exactly what makes them the most realistic parents on television. But realistic is not the same as good. So today, we are building the case. Exhibit by exhibit, episode by episode. Let's get into it. Bandit cheats at everything and has zero shame about it. Let's start with the episode Obstacle Course, because it establishes something important about Bandit Healer very early in the show's run. The man cannot handle losing to his child. He physically cannot do it. In Obstacle Course, Bluey sets up a race through a series of physical challenges, and she beats her dad fair and square, multiple times. And Bandit, a fully grown adult dog with a university degree and presumably some emotional regulation skills, responds by cheating. He physically yanks Bluey backward mid-race so he can get ahead of her, his daughter, in a race she invented, in their own backyard. And this is not an isolated incident. It is a character trait. Bandit Healer is a man who is deeply, personally invested in not being beaten by a 7-year-old. The competitiveness leaks out in episode after episode, and the show does not pretend it is cute. It just shows it happening and lets you sit with the fact that this man would rather cheat than lose a made-up game to his kid. Then there is The Claw. In The Claw, Bandit discovers that his kids will do absolutely anything to earn more turns at the arcade claw machine. And his immediate response is not parental warmth or a lesson about patience. It is to clock an opportunity. He starts assigning the girls household chores in exchange for claw tokens, cheerfully announcing to Chilli that the kids are learning a lesson and the house is getting cleaned at the same time. Chilli's response is immediate and accurate. Neither of those things are happening. And she is right. By the end of the episode, the only one who learned anything is Bandit. His kids ran circles around him, the house is still a disaster, and he is standing there holding a claw machine token like a man who walked into his own trap. The show is not celebrating this. It is showing a dad who genuinely thought he was winning and was very, very wrong. They parented their children while hungover, and the show played it for laughs.
There's nothing a whale mom wouldn't do for her children.
Whale Watching, Season 3, Episode 22, New Year's Day. Bandit and Chilli have clearly had an extraordinary time the night before, because they are both completely non-functional in the morning, in that specific way that only one thing causes. The girls wake up full of energy wanting to play Whale Watching, a game that requires Bandit to be a boat encountering rough seas and Chilli to be a whale who jumps out of the water. Bandit and Chilli are in no condition to be a boat. They are in no condition to be anything. But this is Bluey, so they cannot just say that. Chilli eventually sees a nature documentary about a whale mom caring for her calf and is hit by a wave of parental guilt, so powerful that she rises from the dead and decides to be the whale. Because apparently a television program about actual marine mammals was the thing that reminded her she had children. The show frames this as sweet, and there is something sweet in it. But it is also a portrait of two parents who are genuinely not equipped to be parents on this particular morning, making their children's expectations the source of their guilt rather than their own choices the night before. The lesson the episode lands on is lovely. The setup is two adults in self-inflicted pain trying to care for children who have no idea what is happening, and the show is completely unbothered about depicting this in full detail. Nobody in this house has boundaries, and the parents are the reason why.
Tie that upside down from the tree and throw water balloons at it.
Here's a scene that happens in Bluey. In the episode Hairdressers, Bluey and Bingo are playing hairdressers, and Bandit is their client. In the game, they diagnose him with nits. To treat the nits, they force him to take a cold shower and hit him with a fly swatter and a wooden bird sculpture. So far, this is a normal amount of cartoon chaos. Then Bingo, who has been building to something throughout the episode, finally speaks up. She explains what she really wants to do. She wants to tie Dad upside down from the tree and throw water balloons at him and then cover him in nip powder, which is flour. She stands there and watches her daughters tie her husband upside down from a tree and cover him in flour. She watches this happen. She does not stop it. She does not say the words the rest of us are thinking. She just watches and presumably considers this an afternoon well spent. The show frames this as a boundary episode about Bingo learning to use her voice. And it is. Bingo does learn to speak up for what she wants. The lesson is genuinely good. But the thing Bingo learns to speak up and ask for is tying her father to a tree and covering him in flour. And Chilli treats this as a parenting win. Bandit is deeply committed to avoiding actual parenting whenever possible. Bandit Healer is the most celebrated television dad of the last decade. He is also a man who, when given the opportunity, will absolutely try to get out of parenting duties with the energy of someone defusing a bomb. The episode Dance Mode is a perfect example. The premise is that whenever a certain song comes on, Chilli cannot stop dancing. She is completely overtaken by the music. It is a funny bit and the episode is charming, but what it is actually showing is Chilli being physically unavailable to parent while Bandit, who is supposedly right there, uses the situation as cover to do as little as possible until the song ends. He is not stepping up, he is waiting it out. There is a difference. Then there is Stumpfest. In Stumpfest, Bandit invites his friends over to remove a tree stump from the garden. This is a whole day project. His friends arrive, they have tools. It becomes a full male social event in the backyard. The kids want to participate. The wives, including Chilli, have correctly identified that the stump removal is going to take the entire day and are visibly aware that nothing in the house is getting done and no one is watching the children while the men engage in enthusiastic manual labor in the garden. By the end of the episode, nobody has successfully removed the stump. The men have spent an entire day bonding over their collective failure to complete a single task, and Chilli has spent the day managing everything else. The episode ends warmly, and the stump becomes a pond in a later season. The show knows exactly what it is doing, and that is the whole point. Here is where the argument flips on itself. Because everything we have just gone through, the cheating, the hangover morning, the upside-down flour incident, the stump that never got removed, the takeaway defeat, all of it is intentional. Joe Brum and the creative team behind Bluey are not accidentally making Bandit and Chilli look like imperfect parents. They are doing it on purpose. And the reason is the most quietly radical thing about the entire show. Bluey is not about perfect parents. It is about real ones. The show was created during a moment in parenting culture where parents, particularly mothers, were drowning under the weight of expectation. Parenting advice was everywhere. Social media had created a version of ideal parenthood that nobody could actually live up to. And into that environment came Bluey, which looked from the outside like a show about brilliant, endlessly patient parents who always found the magic in every moment. But Bandit cheats at races. Chilli needs alone time so badly she actually gets it wrong when she finally gets it and does not know what to do with herself. Bandit parents hungover. Chilli approves the flour raking. Bandit tries to trick his kids into doing chores and learns nothing. They fight with each other. They get it wrong. They try again. They get it wrong differently. The show has a subversive streak that critics and parents noticed early. Catherine Van Arendonk at Vulture wrote that Bluey creates envy and longing and a touch of shame, and often leaves parents feeling as though they come up short. Good Housekeeping said it makes parents feel like crap, and those reactions are real. But they misread what the show is doing. Because Bandit and Chilli are not meant to be aspirational. They are meant to be recognizable. The envy is the show working exactly as intended. The genius of Bluey is not that it shows perfect parents. It is that it shows imperfect ones loving their kids so completely, so genuinely, and with so much physical and emotional commitment that it looks like perfection from the outside. Bandit lets himself get tied to a tree and covered in flour because he loves his kids, and the game matters to them. He cheats at obstacle courses because he is human and competitive and slightly ridiculous, and the show knows that and loves him for it. Chilli powers through her headache and becomes the whale because she saw a nature documentary and felt something. Not because she is a saint, because she is a mom who wants to be there even when being there is genuinely hard. They are terrible parents in all the specific ways that real parents are terrible, and they are wonderful ones in all the ways that matter. and the show puts both of those things on screen simultaneously, without flinching and without pretending there is no contradiction between them. That is not accidental. That is the whole point. Smash that like button if this one made you think differently about the healers, and subscribe so you never miss a video like this again. Got another cartoon with a story worth digging into? Drop it in the comments. Thanks for watching, and we will see you next time.